New technology that helps women understand the text messages of men.
Wow, we need that? Okay. And speaking of understanding men, how to understand men.
On today's... Wait, I don't understand.
Exactly.
Today's episode of The Game Over Show. Welcome to the Game Over Show. I'm Charles J. Orlando.
That makes me Lisa Stedman.
And I'm going to point Lisa out because she looks great. You look beautiful today.
Oh,
So I have to embrace my inner Vanna White. And Vanna doesn't just like go like this, right? Vanna points it out and then she presents it, right? There you go.
Thank you. Thank you. What a... You know, I gotta say, this week of Valentine's Day that I'm not a big fan of, as I've said here on the show before, I'm having the men in my life do all kinds of fabulous things, and that was very nice. Thank you.
Of course, no, and your husband like hooked you up last night, like
my husband hooked me up,
bath,
dinner, like lit candles around my bath so I could get my bath on. Like, thank you, honey. I love you. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you.
It's a good thing you don't like Valentine's Day. It's a good thing. It's a good thing.
The expectations are what kill us all, and we have a great... Oh my God, Valentine's Day is going to be hilarious. I can't wait.
It is, and yeah, speaking of...
We get to put him on the hot seat.
Well, tomorrow, Lisa's going to be on the hot seat, Truth or Dare, and I've got some ugly dares for her, right? Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to tell the truth. The dares scare me more than the truth.
They really should. All bullshit aside.
Really?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Tune in tomorrow. We will get her. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. So, I hope she doesn't tell the truth tomorrow.
I'm scared of the truth, but I'm more scared of your fucking dares, dude.
Speaking of, Producer Fiona, there's a contractor coming in to put a pole in the studio tomorrow. Anyway.
My husband will be so happy.
Oh, I thought that was for me.
Yes! Yes, on Thursday we're putting him on the hot seat, Truth or Dare, inside the male mind. Fiona, we gotta come up with some dares. I've got some good truths, but
You want to know something about men or women? Go to facebook.com/thegameovershow. We're going to be hitting each other up over Wednesday and Thursday of this week.
Truth or Dare.
Truth or Dare
Street
style.
Smart style. I'm a little scared, but moving on, I'm going to take a deep cleansing breath.
On the Game Over Show, this is the show where love, tech, and social collide.
It is.
And today we're talking about love and tech. This is a really cool segment.
Well, the segment's cool. I think some of the things we feature are just redonkulous. Although I am a little hooked on Lulu now.
Oh, are you?
I get little updates, and there's a segment called Dear Dude.
God. Right.
And I kind of like it.
Lulu was something. Go back on demand. You can definitely find the episode where we talked about Lulu, the dating application that keeps men, that allows women to review men, right?
Like Yelp for men.
Yeah.
I can't find enough of my ex-boyfriends on there, though.
Wow. Well, that was just crazy. But today is all about interpreting communication, right? And we have an application.
HeTexted.com.
HeTexted.com. This is cool.
So, ladies, you ever gotten a text from a guy and wondered what the subtext was?
Ooh,
I said it.
That was really witty.
Clever.
And it really was.
All right, so let's talk about HeTexted. Thank you, sir. I don't really get it. Do women really need a site where they post screenshots of text messages from men to decipher them?
Well, so it highlights two things for me.
Okay.
Like, men don't say what they mean. So there's like
even in text message?
A lot of times. Or
man, what's wrong with you?
Or it doesn't align with their actions. So they say
it's
one thing.
Confusing.
Yeah.
And
But,
so we need to decide. I am so glad that I am not single right now. Oh my God, all this technology, it wreaks havoc.
No doubt, no doubt. And if you're out there in the dating world and you now hate Lisa, please send your hate mail to producer@thegameovershow.com. So,
I didn't mean it that way. It's just so confusing. Text messages that we have to decipher on
and they're doing it.
texted.com.
That's why I thought this was kind of cool, right?
Okay, talk to me about why. I'm kind of anti these, and then I always become a big raving fan. So I'm going to start posting the Hub's text messages, and we'll decipher.
Just don't post mine before the show. Oh my god. Anyway, no, this was kind of cool because women are, if you ever receive them.
Okay, I get texts from you, but I can decipher all of them.
Well, I'm one of the guys who says what he means.
Yes, and I appreciate that about you, but a
so
lot
many
of guys
men,
don't, you're saying.
And, well, especially early in dating, right? Where you end up trying to figure out what his intentions are and what does he mean, and I don't know his quirks.
Okay,
you know?
What did he mean by this or that, or I did this, and then we texted, and I'm confused now.
Based on his actions or lack of action. Like, there's all this stuff.
Let me ask you this. Are girls deciphering these, or are men deciphering these, or both?
So, this is both, as I see it.
Okay, good.
But a lot of it is women are involved in this kind of interpretation of what he meant.
See, I don't know how helpful that is.
I would have to agree.
Because ladies, we got lady brain, right? We got lady brain, and lady brain, we kind of all think alike, and if one of us is confused, typically all of us are confused. And this is where we need a dude. This is why we do Game Over Man and Woman.
Right.
So that you get both perspectives, male and female. So maybe we need to get you a job on hetexted.com so you can be the advisor and help us figure this shit out, right, ladies?
Well, there are some guys on there. It's affectionately called Ask a Bro. I won't be a bro. You know?
Bruh?
Bruh. Oh, that's right, bra.
Oh, bra?
Bra.
If you're in Hawaii, bra?
And I'm not underwear, right? I'm not bra. So...
You're not even bro.
I'm neither of those douchebaggery terms, right?
He's Charles.
Yeah, you know? So, but I thought this was interesting in that instead of sitting and struggling with what he means and being confused, they are leveraging the power of community to try to uncover and decipher what this is all about.
Okay.
So for me, that was cool. They may not be coming up with the right answers because women talking to women about what guys say, you know, it's kind of like...
I think we might just... Oh, are we going to say it's the telephone game?
Well, yeah. It's a really big game of telephone. This is why I love working with Lisa, right? Because if you take a look at relationship experts, they're either men who are sitting alone in some place in some cabin writing about relationships, right? Or it's...
So true.
Or it's like Unabomber style. Or it's...
With a hoodie.
Women...
Haven't shaved. Haven't had a woman in years.
Or you have dating experts who are married with 6 kids, you know, or
haven't been dating in a long time.
Or you have women who are writing books for women, but it's a woman writing about men's issues. Like that doesn't play itself out.
Yeah.
So you put those. That's why I like this.
Yeah.
Right.
You get both perspectives.
But there are men on this site. Check out hetexted.com and let us know. You like it? You hate it? We want to know.
It's interesting, and it reminds me, so Californication, if anyone's watching this season of Californication, there's a woman who used to play Janice on Friends, that really annoying Janice, but now she's playing this feminazi practically. She's asexual. Well, she's not asexual, she just gets herself off. She doesn't need a man. She's not a lesbian, though. And she's so hilarious because in every episode she's talking about how you don't need a man and you don't need to decipher a man because men just complicate everything and fuck up your lives. And it's so hilarious to me because it is this idea that she's deciphering what goes wrong in everybody's relationship, and yet she's choosing not to participate. So how the fuck does she know? And that's my one concern about He Texted, is like, do we really know what we're talking about? Ladies, we don't. That's why we have Charles. We need help.
Like, I know everything. Oh my god, I'm still a guy. I screw it up all the time. Like,
but you get dude speak.
Like, I do, hopefully. Sometimes I get dude speak, right? Well, this leads us into the next part of our discussion, right?
Yes, it does, sir.
We are talking about interpretation, and it's time for He Said,
She Said.
So this is kind of cool.
Is it cool? Tell me why it's cool.
I think this is cool because so many women get caught up, men too, not understanding what the other person's saying and why.
Oh. Who's been there?
Well, I think we all have. Like, I can raise all... Producer Fiona's saying the same thing. Like, everybody's trying to understand and interpret. And also, you want to know why they're not responding to your stuff, right?
And responding in the way you want them to.
Right.
You know,
right.
This was the thing that, like, would send me over the edge when I was single and dating and in relationships with men who didn't have a feminine side, or at least weren't in touch with it.
Right.
It was like, why can't he just be like this? But he couldn't, because it's not who he was. And I wasn't allowing him to be him, but I wanted him to have, like, a different reaction. And it was like nails on a chalkboard, banging your head against the wall. Like, nothing's going to change in that scenario. So we kind of either got to get out of that relationship, which I did. But it's confusing.
It is really confusing. And as soon as you say embrace your feminine side to a guy, he automatically thinks that he's either going to be in drag or something else, right? Or worse in his estimation, whatever. That's why, as part of the title of this episode, we were talking about lunar and solar.
Yeah, talk to me about that.
Well, one is obviously, you know, moon-based and the other sun-based. And when you take a look at past mythology, and, you know, one is very feminine, the moon is supposed to be very feminine, and the sun is supposed to be very masculine. So instead of charged terms like masculine and feminine, which equates to a lot of men as strong and bitch-like, or if not bitch, then bitch-ish.
Yeah, bitch-ish. Like
that you end up with something that makes a little bit more sense, because the truth of it is that we all have both sides in us, right?
Ladies, and I think we can attest to this, and sometimes it's easier to see in ourselves. So especially if you're somebody who has a very busy life, maybe you have kids, maybe you have a high-powered job, you know that masculine side of you that takes charge, that gets stuff done, that really is the conqueror and the accomplisher. And sometimes it's harder to see in a man the difference between that side of him and a softer side.
Right. No doubt.
And I think it's also become far more acceptable for women to really embrace both sides, whereas it's not as acceptable for men to have that softer side. Hence, like, the terms like, what are you, a bitch, you know, to a guy, or he's perceived as weak.
Sure. Well, and what we're talking about when it comes to communication, we're talking about all the things that are communication driven.
Yeah.
So it's your presence, your emotion, your facial features and expressions, your body language.
Body language is huge.
Things you say, how you say it, and when it's said. So
and
it's
then how
all
you
these
follow
things.
up with your actions.
Yes.
Yeah.
But it's also how things are phrased up. And we've talked a lot about this, right?
Yeah.
Where when things are phrased up, short and sweet and pithy and to the point, it's very masculine. And that's how men talk, right? They're very...
it's why there are statistics on how many fewer words men use a day versus women, which, you know, women we can look at them and go, oh, we're so much smarter, but, you know, they're may just be more succinct. That may be a better way to communicate sometimes. I think that's really interesting.
Yep.
I'm like, he's unusually quiet. He's proving a point.
Yep.
I'm going to be quiet.
Yep. But that's where we run into a lot of these issues, right? Where women want to understand what the guy's thinking, what he's feeling, and he doesn't. And he doesn't either know how or doesn't want to embrace that side of himself. So,
ladies, don't you hate that guessing game? Like, what's going on in his head?
And he's trying. I would bet a lot of these guys are trying their best, right? And so they're speaking in their masculine. They're embracing their alligator brain. They're speaking in their masculine.
Because until you explained the alligator brain, I was like, crocodile, what?
So that's a knife.
Nice.
So, well, the easiest way to explain the difference is when you talk about parents talking to children. Okay.
Okay.
So just as far as those relationship dynamics, you end up with a child who says, "Why can't I go outside?" And the dad will say, "You can't go outside," and he's embracing his masculine. And why can't I go outside? Because I said so. Done.
Masculine.
Done. Whereas you get a mother embracing her feminine, and women do the masculine side too, but you get a mother embracing her feminine, it's like, you can't go outside. And the child says, why? Because, honey, it's late. You know, there's dinner coming up soon, you have homework to do, and there's, you know, it's very...
We try to be rational and explain. And be emotional. And sometimes you just need to be like, no, you can't.
Sometimes. But this is where you end up with a lot of issue early on in the relationship, and why, especially in text messaging, written word, it's highly subjective, and it's not written with the same tone that it's received necessarily.
I know, and that's what's so frustrating to me about this idea that text messaging is becoming almost a preferred way, at least for people in their 20s, to communicate in the early stages as well as throughout their relationship. In text message, like, you lose so much.
Well, you lose
when
all
you
the
do
things.
It this way.
All the stuff that we're talking about as far as communication, you totally lose all of it.
Boo.
You lose all of it. But it makes things even harder for men who don't necessarily know how to express themselves right. And when I say right, I mean in a way that she can receive it.
Okay.
Not the way he's putting it out there, the way that she can receive it.
Okay, got that.
So when you put all this in a big pot, you end up with the dilemma that's been going around back and forth between the genders for ages. Whereas men are saying, "I'm telling you what I think," and women are saying, "But I don't even understand what you're saying," and vice versa.
Hello.
Right.
Yeah.
So
can we train a man to speak our language?
well, there's an entire chapter in my first book that talks about man training.
And how we do? Can we do it? Is it successful?
You can create an environment that causes a man to grow, but you can't make him do it. Well, I stay away from...
Create an environment. That feels a little kumbaya-y.
Well, no, you're putting your needs out. You're putting what you want out. You're setting clear boundaries, limits, and expectations.
Okay.
And then it's up to him whether he wants to do it or not. I mean, he can still choose to say, no, I'm not doing this.
How do you create an environment, Charles? Ladies, don't we want to know? This is the burning question. So how do we create the environment? What's one thing we can do?
You put your needs out clearly.
Okay.
You put your limits out clearly.
Okay.
And you never, ever, ever back down.
Okay.
Ever.
So this is something we run into a lot in the second half of our show with live love advice, is when a woman says, my man did this, I forgave him. He did it again. Took him back.
You're showing him how whatever he just did that was jacked up and you're pissed, that it's okay.
And you may be saying, don't do that again, but your actions are trumping that. And so it's giving him the signals that it's okay to do it again. So what you're saying is to really train a man, and I like my men to come fully trained, but ladies, if you're training a man, let's get it from the dude here.
Well, and...
The bra.
The bra. Well, let me just say that any hate mail that you want to send me about man training, if you're a guy out there, hi, just go ahead and send it in. This isn't my term, right? Women are already using this term. It's not us, and it's not me. It's being said. And it's a charged term, right? I mean, I can put software in front of training, and it's okay. I can put basic in front of that word, and it's okay. But what But we're just talking about learning new skills, and men, primally, aren't necessarily built to create a long-lasting, monogamous, meaningful, emotionally charged relationship. Why? Because we're just going to hit it, make sure our sire line continues, and then fuck it, we're out. Like, that's it. But that's not the way the world works today.
You know, we were talking last week about women having gotten the memo about evolving as women and really embracing both a masculine and a feminine side to themselves. And we also talked about the fact that men didn't get this memo.
No, they haven't.
Well, for lack of a better term, what the fuck are we supposed to do?
Well, women are embracing masculine pieces of themselves, right? 60 years ago, they were hanging out in the kitchen burning dinner for whatever man was coming home late, right? Like, I mean, it was...
Some of us could cook, not me, but some.
That's why I said burning, because you're sitting next to me.
My mother was a home ec teacher, so allegedly I should know how to cook. But...
That didn't work out.
No.
Lewis, you have my condolences.
Hey, he's an amazing cook, so I don't have to. Pressure's off.
Well, see, you just articulated the point.
Oh, I did?
Traditional.
I love that.
No, but traditionally, like, he is embracing pieces of his traditional feminine. You know, because men are protector, providers, hunters, not community-driven and gatherers. They don't cook. They just kill it. You cook it. Primal. Not sexist, just primal.
No, primally.
So you guys have traditional role reversal, but in some ways.
Yeah. No, we do. We absolutely do. And I think this is important for the ladies and the men out there to understand how that works for you. Like talking about traditional roles in male-female. Like, I got married in a red wedding dress. I didn't want to wear white. I thought it was bullshit. And people say to me, why are you so untraditional or unconventional? And I always say, find your own way with convention and tradition. So if you're a woman who's out there kicking ass in your life, you don't have to also know how to cook. You can learn, and that's an added skill, but find the relationship that celebrates both sides of you And hopefully you will find a man, if you are fully being you, who can appreciate all of that, and he will have the masculine and feminine sides too.
Definitely. Well, just full circle back to our communication side. I mean, you and Lewis worked out how you were going to talk to each other and who was doing what role. It kind of happened naturally, right?
Yeah.
What happens early on is that you end up with men that don't say what they're actually thinking or feeling, and women who try to interpret it. Right.
It's infuriating, damn it!
So what can be done? That's what we're doing here, right? I mean, it's...
So it's not... So let's take a step back from man training for a minute. And let's talk about setting up, when you are dating, setting up expectations and communication.
Now, what do you say to people who say that expectations in a relationship are bad?
I think they're bad if they're too high and if they're unexpressed.
Unexpressed, definitely. Too high is subjective, though, right?
So here's what I mean by too high. You got an entitlement complex where you think you are owed the perfect relationship and you just have to show up and it magically appears.
I get that.
Game over. But I think it's really important to express your expectations. I expect after a date you're going to call me, not please call me, please call me. Okay, I'm mad now that you didn't. You haven't expressed it. Sometimes these things we assume should be assumptions. Do not assume anything in relationships. You gotta communicate about these things.
Sure, but it's that communication that sends a lot of guys off, right? So when you talk to a guy when you're dating and you're embracing your masculine in way of speech, where it's like, so you're gonna call me tomorrow?
Well, no, you don't say that. You don't say that.
But if you don't set your expectations...
This is a gray area.
Lisa loves gray areas.
I am obsessed with gray areas. So how can a woman, let's talk about then, if a woman has an expectation, how can she express it in a way that he can hear it?
I think she has to embrace an in-between, as do men, by the way. I mean, we put all the onus on women. Here's what he means, and here's what he meant to say, and here's what you need to do to adjust yourself.
Me off.
It's bullshit. You know, this is why we're doing what we're doing. Like, men, come fucking correct, right? Meet them halfway. What are you doing? Stop putting the onus all over women. Anyway.
Yeah.
But did I cut you off?
No.
Okay.
Go for it. Loving it.
But so when it comes, what do you say? You have to find a middle ground in between. You know, something like, you're gonna call me tomorrow, or
that's a game over again.
It is a game over. So it ends up like, I had a really good time. Would love to do this again.
So that's what a woman can say?
That's what a woman could say.
Okay.
It's right in between, and it's what
What if a man asks you out via text message and you want him to call to ask for the date? How do you communicate that?
All right, I would be saying it straight. Unless you want to set the expectation that he can start communicating you with text messages like all the time, I'd be like, I'd love to. Give me a call. We can talk about it.
Because I hear this a lot from the ladies, that, you know what, he says he's going to call me and then he texts instead. And I always say, you know what, if he's texting to ask you if you're free for Saturday night, say, I might be, call me.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean...
Ball in his court, not, call, you know, are you going to call me? It's like, if you'd like to ask me out.
See, but these communication dynamics play out in established relationships too.
Yes.
So women are saying things like, I can never get him to do the dishes. I can never get him to pick up his shit. Right, I get a lot of that on advice requests that don't come to the show. I answer those very quickly.
Yeah.
But the response I have is, you have to set it up with a zero out, and so you end up saying, instead of, you never do the fucking dishes, will you get off your ass? I've been here all day. You went to work. I've been working here. Like, what the? No, that's game over.
Okay.
Right. So it ends up being like, so we got to do the dishes. You want to wash or dry? And now you've presented the illusion of choice.
I like the illusion part.
The illusion of choice, but now he has to. So if anything else besides those two choices ends up a big fuck you, and that's not good, then you have something to say. So instead of, will you help me with the dishes? Yeah, in a minute. No. I'm about to do the dishes. You want to wash or dry?
Nice.
And now you're leading in a feminine way.
Yes.
You're leading what needs to be done.
Yes. I like that. This is nice. We're learning, ladies. Are we learning? So you can do he texted and hope for the best. Or you can listen to this guy and learn how to not train, but communicate.
Well, and different types of communication, you know, just to come all the way to the end of this and conclude this section. I did have a woman write in who... could not get her husband to hear her or listen to her. Their carpets were in complete disarray. They were moneyed, so he could have absolutely found a contractor. They could have had their carpets replaced, he would not listen, would not hear her in any way, shape, or form. Like, she put it out masculine, she put it out feminine, she put it out nice, she was a bitch.
Carpets?
Like, she did all this stuff. Didn't work. So what she did is she took scissors and cut out, "We need new carpets." And lo and behold, they were replaced within a week. So sometimes you just get shit done, right?
Brilliant. I love that.
And that's another communication technique. It's called "fuck you." See? Just so everybody knows.
Wow.
I think that's actually of some Asian descent. Fuck you. I think. I'm not quite sure.
I'm going to edit myself right there.
And I appreciate it. If you have a comment about masculine and feminine, we want to hear about it.
And crocodile brain. I mean alligator brain.
Right? That's a knife. Go to facebook.com/The Game Over Show. What's it time for?
It's time for Street Smart Love Advice. So we just had the illusion of choice. Charles asked, well, no, actually, you did give me the option.
I did give you the option.
Am I reading, or are you reading live love advice?
During the transition, producer Fiona says, "The illusion of choice."
It's always him.
Well, it's true. It's true.
It just works for us. We've figured it out.
All right, ready?
I'm ready.
Every day at the back half of the show.
Back half.
Back end. We answer your advice requests. You write into us at facebook.com/The Game Over Show, and we respond to you live while keeping you anonymous. And if you can't tell, this show is live.
Is it?
I hope so.
Hello. I was going to do something inappropriate, but I wasn't sure what, and I just started to go all kinds of crazy up here, and I thought, you know what? I'm not going to go there.
If you don't think the show is live, check tomorrow when we put her on Truth or Dare. First one's coming in.
I'm so scared.
From C. C says, I recently met a man
awesome.
at a nightclub.
Oh.
We kissed and he took my number.
Okay.
That's pretty quick. He texted the next morning. And
hey, no judgment.
No judgment. No, for him, not her. See where you went? That was really sexist.
No you just judged all over that shit. No judgment.
I'll tell you what Mark Twain says. If you want to make a man covet a thing, you make the thing difficult to attain. Okay? Kissing
Mark
the night
Twain,
you met.
come on this couch.
That's a whole different show. You said come on the couch.
Mark Twain.
Can we get back to the segment? Told you it was live.
See,
Told
I'm
you it
really
was live.
sorry. Let's continue.
This first one comes in from C. We're just gonna brain bleach that whole thing. Recently met a man when I was out at a nightclub.
No judgment.
We kissed and he took my number.
Okay.
Oh, how sweet. He texted me the next morning and we've been talking every day since, including going on a lunch date the other day where they split the bill. So this is starting well.
Okay.
He told me that he wants to meet up again and seems genuinely interested. The only problem is that he takes a long time to answer my texts. It's hours. So I've come hours. I've come across a lot of players in my time, and I'm afraid he's one of them too.
Hours? What's wrong with hours? It's not days. It's not weeks.
I really like him, and I think we have chemistry. Is there any way of me knowing he's a player?
Not just from hours to respond to a text. Some people don't live with their phone next to them at all times. Spoken as two people who have their phones right next to them during the show. A lot of people don't. As much as you may live and die by your phone as we do, not everybody does. So please do not take this as a sign that he's a player.
No doubt. There'd have to be something else going on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
I'm wondering if there is anything else going on that you're concerned about other than the fact that it takes him a couple hours to get back.
She alludes to the fact that she's been with a couple of different guys who were playboys like that, and this was one of their red flags.
Ah, so this is some baggage coming in.
So my advice, ask him. Ask him straight. How come it takes you so long to text me back?
That's not going to be needy, like a chick talking to an alligator?
I don't think so. I think it's like, and then accept the answer that comes instead of, well, I answer you right away. Like now we're down a whole different icky path, right?
No.
Just ask a question. Like maybe he's got some high pressure job. Maybe his phone is at a range.
Maybe he doesn't live on his phone like we do. Not everybody does.
But it's important, I think, from a communication standpoint, to get that out in the open.
Yes, I agree with that. I absolutely do. And I think this is another case where technology isn't your friend because time span in a response to a text or an email can be construed a million different ways.
Right.
When all it is like, I was busy, I wasn't near my phone ran out of battery, like any number of things. So this is not enough evidence to say he's a player. And the thing I would say is to check that emotional baggage. I get that this is a sign from the past. It doesn't have to be a sign. You're making that connection.
And when in doubt, stalk on Facebook. Just kidding. So, just kidding. Just kidding. Joke. This last one comes in from H.
Hi, H.
H says, I would like to get the intimacy back in my relationship.
Yay!
I would like to would I come across... Let me start over here. I want to get the intimacy back in my relationship.
Yay!
Would I come across as desperate if I were to get my boyfriend in the mood for sex rather than waiting for him to make the first move? See, this is another alligator brain deal, right?
Take it.
So, I think that there's a way to do it, right? So men like... A lot of men, maybe I'd venture to say most men,
okay,
like the chase, even in an established relationship. Okay. So if you want to make the first move, getting in bed and then making the first move physically is sometimes something a lot of men like. A lot of men don't. The surefire way...
It's so confusing!
Well, right. So
okay,
you don't know, you don't know
way.
which one he is, right? Because you could, like, take this guy and if he's got a submissive bone in his body, he's going to be like, sweet, let's do this. But you don't know, right? You can ask that question away from the bedroom and then find out.
Okay.
But the surefire way is to give him something to chase.
Like a chew toy?
Like, well, at least 3 pink ones is wonderful. But besides that... No, I mean, like, if you were to walk out of the bathroom, not you, the collective you...
Well, that includes me.
If you were to walk out of the bathroom,
yeah, I'm with you.
Wet hair, kind of naked, revealing, lingerie, something, and just be there while he's getting ready for bed, and make it available without chasing him down and tackling him like a guy. No, not too available. A seductive look, walking out. I mean, that's seduction, right? That's seduction. And a lot of times, I'm just giving one example in the bedroom, seduction starts outside of the bedroom.
Good makeout sessions in the kitchen work for me.
That works?
The kitchen's right around the corner
sure.
of the bedroom, ladies.
What about the text message that comes at like 3 o'clock in the afternoon that's like, you coming home tonight? Because I'm going to fuck your brains out.
Wow!
That works too. Where
Can you possibly misread that?
That's there's no confusion. You'll never find that on hetexted.com, right? That's just...
Wow!
But what's wrong with that, right? And that's a guy that's like, I gotta go. And he's like out. So that kind of thing really works. But to take charge in bed might work for him. I would bet in a lot of cases it won't.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm so surprised by that. Like, really, like, taking charge in bed can be a turnoff.
It can be for a lot of men. Some men really like it. But that's why I'm saying, like, you can take your chances. You can talk about it outside the bedroom.
Would that be a turnoff for you? Oh, wait, we're going to ask that on Valentine's Day.
I don't have the answer today. I take the 5th. And that's the end of our show. Catch us tomorrow where we are going to be playing Truth or Dare. I'm putting Lisa on the hot seat. We're going to find out the real deal about what women think. And you know what? This is the breakup queen because she came from a lot of breakups. We're going to find out why. Until then... Don't touch me. Until then, this has been the Game Over Show. I'm Charles T. Orlando.
And I'm Lisa Stedman.
We'll see you tomorrow.
Bye.